One of my favourite things about Korean culture is food. And when we think of Korean food, there is one thing we always think of: kimchi. And there's one kimchi I've been wanting to try, but you cannot find it anywhere here in London: oyster kimchi. As many of you may be aware, London recently had its first Korean food festival, the Chong Festival. While strolling around the festival, my friend and I came across one stall called Yaksok. This stall was selling homemade drinks like 수정과 or 청포도 에이드, along with different types of side dishes, also known as 반찬, including kimchi. My friend and I only tried the drinks the first day, but because their service was so good and probably the friendliest out of all the other stalls, they even spoke Korean to us and gave us free Lucky Charms, I decided to stalk their Instagram. And you won't believe what I found. Oyster kimchi, yes, the thing I've been wanting to find for months. They said on their Instagram story that they were going to sell it the very next day. So of course I went back the next day. I was finally getting my hands on my oyster kimchi, yes. But it wasn't going to be that easy. Life is never easy, everyone. You see, in order to enter the Chong Festival, you need to queue up. But on the very first day, I was too smart for that. So I lied to the security guards, telling them I just had to go into the Waitrose supermarket, which was right next to the Chong Festival. And so they let me in, thinking that's all I had to do. But you know, guys, I absolutely despise liars and I hate lying. So I actually did end up going into the Waitrose for a minute, then came out and then sneaked into the festival. Unfortunately, the second day you couldn't do this anymore, so I actually had to line up. I lined up for 3 hours, guys, under the burning sun, just for Korean food, just for my oyster kimchi. And when we finally got to the stall, oh my gosh, I was elated. I was absolutely booming. I thought I was going to finally grab that kimchi, that oyster kimchi, but guess what? We saw nothing. No oyster kimchi at all. It was the same 청포도 에이드, the 수정과, the 반찬, which all look amazing and were very amazing, but not my oyster kimchi. There was no oyster kimchi. Apparently, due to the freshness of the oysters and the food safety reasons, they were not allowed to sell the oyster kimchi. Why? I wanted to cry right then and there, but the auntie, the imonim who was making these oyster kimchi, told me she would make it just for me and to come back the next day. I went home feeling deflated and decided to stalk their Instagram a little more and ended up messaging them about the oyster kimchi. There was no way I was going to wait in line for 3 hours again for nothing. I had to make sure that they were actually going to make it. They told me that I had to first make an order in order for them to actually prepare it for me the next day. And so I decided, okay, I'm going to make the order. But the next day I found out that they were only going to sell 10 oyster kimchi containers. Yes, only 10 oyster kimchi containers, and they were only going to give it to people who had an icebox prepared. I don't just randomly have an icebox in my fridge, guys. I really don't. But I wasn't going to give up so easily. Oh no, absolutely not.
Never give you up, never let you down, never run around and desert you, never make you cry, never say goodbye, never tell a lie and hurt you.
I went around looking for ice boxes in different supermarkets, literally Tesco's, Iceland, what else is there, even Lidl. I went all around. I couldn't find it anywhere. So I used a helpline. I decided to ask my friend, and thank the Lord, her landlord decided to lend her one, and it was the exact kind that I was looking for. She said she will bring it to me at the festival and we can go to buy the oyster kimchi together. But guess what? I ended up arriving before her, so I had no proof to show to the Imonim that I had the icebox. Oh, like, seriously. But I still had to claim my oyster kimchi. There was no way I was losing this chance. So I went in front of the barricade next to Waitrose, and I could see the stall, but they couldn't see me or hear me because there were just too many people. I tried asking a staff from a nearby stall to just call one of the staff from Yaksok and let them know I'm here. But she didn't even do anything. She just stood there saying, "Oh, I don't know how to help, sorry, I'm useless." Like, the stall was right opposite their stall, but she just didn't help. But you know what? She's a staff. I thought, okay, never mind. She's busy doing her stall stuff. Leave it to that.
Interruption, please read.
So I started to look around and see who didn't have a constipated expression all over their face and who actually looked kind enough to help me. And thankfully I found this one girl with her mother who was just buying something from a nearby store, and they were more than happy to help me. Like, oh, they really helped me big time, and they were so beautiful as well. Thank you so much. The staff finally saw me, and the auntie who makes the kimchi recognized me immediately and came rushing out. And when she was coming back with the oyster kimchi, I also noticed that she brought me an apple aid as service. I was like, she was so nice, and that was perfect for the hot weather because I was dying, sweating and thirsty. I didn't bring a water bottle. I don't know why, I just didn't. But yeah, she started to even talk about BTS. She said she noticed that I was an ARMY, and presuming she also stalked my Instagram just like I did. She asked me if I was going to the Arirang concert, and I told her no, unfortunately not, because I couldn't get the tickets. And so she asked, have I ever been to a BTS concert? And I said I did at the iconic Wembley concert in 2019, day 2. And it turned out that we were at the same concert enjoying BTS's music as ARMYs of different cultures, different ages. Wonderful is that she was so nice to just give me the oyster kimchi without even waiting to see the proof of the icebox. And I also found out she was up until dawn making that kimchi. Like, I just want to give her a big thank you. She was seriously so sweet. When I finally tried the kimchi, it was absolutely delicious. The zingy kimchi with the fresh oysters, it was like being in a firework festival at the beach, watching the sea, watching the fireworks in the night sky. It was seriously amazing. However, there was one problem: the oysters. You see, I actually never tried raw oysters before, and I'm not a picky eater and love seafood, but my body was just rejecting the oysters. I tried to enjoy the kimchi as much as possible, but for some reason I couldn't handle the smell of the raw oysters. It was really annoying because I really wanted to keep eating the oysters and enjoy it, but my body was just rejecting it. It just couldn't handle it. I kept forcing myself to eat them and get used to the taste, but it was not working, guys. But there was no way I was going to not eat them or throw them in the bin, especially because this beautiful auntie made the oyster kimchi at dawn with so much love, and the oysters are an absolute delicacy. And the kimchi itself did taste very delicious. It was just the oysters I couldn't handle. So I decided to find a different solution, and that solution was kimchi fried rice. I thought if I cooked the oysters, I might be able to handle eating them. And that's what I did, guys. This is where you realize if you work hard, appreciate life, and never give up, even if it feels like forever, you will definitely see results. Because this kimchi fried rice was the best kimchi fried rice I've ever had. And I'm not trying to show off at all with my cooking or anything. It was just the kimchi itself. The kimchi was so good. The flavor of the kimchi elevated when it was cooked, and I could finally appreciate those fresh oysters. It was so tasty, everyone, and I'm so happy I got to try the oyster kimchi I've been looking to try for absolutely ages. I was so touched, not because of the oyster kimchi though, because this was never just about the oyster kimchi, nor was it just about Korean food, but about appreciating culture, not just my own, but other people's culture, because there is so much beauty, kindness and love, everyone, all around the world, and everyone has something important and valuable to bring. I didn't just wait in line in the heat for 3 hours. I didn't just run around different supermarkets to find an icebox. And I didn't go to the Korean food festival 3 days despite living far from it just for the oyster kimchi. I went there for the oyster kimchi that auntie made with her own hands, with the love that she prepared it with. I went there to experience the very culture that she grew up with, that she wanted to share with the rest of the world. I went there to communicate with her in her mother tongue, rich in expressions that simply cannot be translated to English. I went there for that beautiful exchange. I went there to show my appreciation and love for that very culture she calls home, because there is more that unites us than divides us, and we could all be so much happier if we stop fighting and instead shake hands and stand body to body.
I need the whole city in the